Hello there, welcome back to my bench once again. And in this tutorial I'm going to tie you up a very small fly. It's a midge pattern, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. It's the zebra midge, a very popular midge pupa pattern. And this is just how I tie it, my take on it, and I thought I'd share this pattern with you this time around. So I'll get this guy of the vise, new hook in, and I'll get started. Okay, the hook I'm using is a TM Co 2487, and I'm tying it on a size 18. So I'll get him locked in the vise here very carefully. Okay, and I have a 3/32 gold tungsten bead on there for a bead. Now the body's just the thread, so we're going to start the thread right behind the bead here. Get that locked into place here. Then we're just going to wrap that back, and we want to come down around the bend, about halfway on the bend here. I'll cut this tag end out of the way, and we'll come down to right about there, come back up. Now I'm just going to start to build a taper here with the thread. Just keep making several wraps. Start a slight taper. I'll just get that started for now, but next I'm going to tie in the rib, and or excuse me, almost forgot here, sorry about that folks. For mine I put a tail on it, and for the tail it's just very simple, just 2 strands of pearl flashabou, and I'm just going to tie those in, and I'll trim to the length afterwards. So just take 2 strands, tie them on top there, just like so. Okay, and just come down around the bend with those. There we go. Okay, and I'll trim those off. Okay, now we'll come back up and I'll tie in the rib, and the rib is simply some fine copper wire, extra fine, and I'm just going to take that and slide it under the bead there, just like so. And we'll start that and wrap back and take that right down to the bend too, right in front of the tail. There we go, and we'll come back up. Just make sure I cover all that up, because our thread is our body. We don't want none of that copper showing through on the body. Just turn the vise here so I can see, make sure I'm getting full coverage. There we go. Now I'm going to come back up and start to build a little taper here, a little thicker up here towards the bead. I want to make that taper uniform if I can. Okay, that looks pretty good right there. Alrighty, so now we'll just take our rib here and we're going to wrap that. And I usually get about 4 or 5 wraps on these guys. And we'll come up around, and I'll make one more, but I'm going to tie that off right there. So I'll come in there and tie him off. And I'm going to wrap back on it to lock it in place so that tinsel won't go anywhere, or that wire, or I should say. And I'll helicopter that off, just like so. There we go, we have a rib on there. And I'm just going to build it up a little bit more behind the bead. That looks good there, and I'm just going to bring my whip finisher in now to finish him up. It's a very simple midge pattern to tie. You can tie up a dozen of these. It doesn't take that long to put quite a few in your box. So now I'm going to do a few whip finish turns there. And oops, tie him off, snug that down nice and tight. And I'll come in and snip off that excess piece of thread there. Then I want to come back, grab these 2 strands of flashabou, and I'll snip them about probably about the hook cap width and length there. A couple strands. It's just a little tiny bit of flash at the rear. It's just how I tie mine anyhow, and it seems to be very effective. So now one last step to make it nice and durable is to bring in my Solares bone dry, and I'm going to put a very light coat all over the whole body, those thread wraps. Okay, so I'll bring that in very careful, like just going to coat this whole body on this guy. Okay, on the bottom too. Alrighty, and up right back of the bead. There we go. Now that'll make that fly much more durable that way. Just let that soak in for a little bit here. Just going to turn it a little bit and let it soak in good. And I also tie this guy in olive and brown as well. And it's a very effective pattern if you're somewhere where there's a lot of midges coming off. And last step to do is, almost forgot, I got to cure that up. Just make sure that's all set there. Doesn't take too long. Alrighty, there we have it. Another size 18 zebra midge pupa. Like I was saying, it's a pretty simple tie, and I hope that you can tie this guy up. Add a few to the box and give him a whirl. So anyhow, I'll thank you all very much again for watching. And if you hadn't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe if you like. Appreciate that a lot. And also, if you're throwing a like, that means a lot too. So I want to thank you for watching once again, and stay safe and happy tying out there. I'll see you again soon, and so long for now, folks.